Hello and welcome to Before the Sith. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this is a reskin of Before the Storm, which is a game from the really wonderful collection Seven Wonders from Pelgrane. There are seven standalone RPGs in there with a strong, narrow focus, interesting ideas to them. It's a really good collection. This is a diceless story game. It is a narrative game. This is about characters on the night before the last big battle. They know the next day is going to be the big battle. They've prepared themselves. There's some reasons why they've gathered there, and we're going to explore the stories of our characters awaiting that, with flashbacks to how we got here, flashbacks to how we arrived in this place. So there is that sense of waiting before the final days. In the original, it's a fantasy version. I've also done this with a superhero version where it's kind of before Thanos arrives. And then this one is we're going to be happening in the time of the Old Republic. A couple hundred years. We're in the KOTOR Knights of the Old Republic era kind of thing when at least in the old expanded universe, there were a lot of battles with different factions and forces and things like that with the Jedi. So do think we've seen a situation like this in the Last Jedi movie. There's also, if you've played Final Fantasy X, there's that moment at Xanarkand in that where all the characters are kind of gathering and waiting for the next big day's events. Uh, so one of the things is if you've played them before, I have a very set structure for introducing things here. This game has some scripted bits to it, so I am going to talk a little bit about the safety tools, but generally I'm going to kind of work through the script of this. The structure of the game is going to be the setting creation, do a little bit of discussion about that, then the character creation, which involves making some choices based on cards, and then the actual play out, and then resolving the final battle. We'll have some breaks here. Usually try to aim for a 10-minute first break at that first time, and then maybe a second break. We're going to be taking a bigger break in the middle, which will be my lunch break, but some of you are on wildly different times. But we'll take that in the middle, and then the second part will be what we need to finish things off, how we need whatever time we need to resolve things. The cards that we use in play do serve as a timer, and I will talk about that. So
Um,
yes.
just to say, I have you set an endpoint at a certain time, which is my 10 p.m. in the evening. I don't know where
Oh,
it
that's
is
the
for you.
absolute, that would be the
Okay,
absolute latest.
okay, okay, because I
That's
have
our,
a
that would be our drop
pretty
dead
hard.
time. Yeah.
Okay, I
Yeah.
have a pretty hard out at that point.
Oh yeah. No,
Just
no.
just
No,
giving you a heads
I
up.
would anticipate that we would be done before that. So that I just gave us enough space to be on the safe side.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
uh
I'm fine with going there, but I have another game after that.
sure,
So
sure. Oh, you're going super late, Sabine.
no, this is a regular game
Oh,
actually
okay, okay,
that I do, but I am going super late on
okay.
that owl.
So we are using some standard safety tools that I've used in other games. So we are using our lines and veils here. Lines being anything to mark as a hard line. This is not something that we're going to have as a topic or material that we're going to put on the table during play. And then veils being anything that should it appear, we will fade to black on it. And then ask first if there's something you want to have us check in before any of us as players were to bring it in as a topic. So I encourage you as we're going through this process, add onto that as you need to. There's also a romance matrix to express what your interest is in those kinds of stories for your characters throughout play, and you can add on to that. Now, you're going to hear me do a little bit of a scripting here. The first part that we're going to be doing is building the setting, and then we're going to talk about the tone a little bit. So we're going to be building what our foe is. We are characters in an old Republic time. We are at a base, and our foe is arriving tomorrow. We know what the timeline is. And we're sitting there in those last few hours before the clash that's going to decide the fate of everyone. We've got troops here with us, and they kind of see us as heroes, our characters as the really important people who have gone out and gone on a quest before this to gather the resource, to gather the thing, and we'll decide what that is that they hope we can use to defeat our foe. They think that maybe this is what is going to save us. But we know the truth. We're normal people with flaws and secrets, just the same as anyone else. And in this moment, in this time that we're going to be playing out, this may be our last chance for us to say what needs to be said to each other and to put things to rights between us. Because we know that not all of us are coming home from what happens tomorrow. Now, to start, we're going to be choosing some items from the setting list. So if you go to the setting tab here, we'll decide on the name and the name of our base here in just a moment. What we're going to do is picking some things from these lists, and if you want to see the full list rather than the drop down, I'll actually move this over on the tabs. All of these things are on the data tab, which I've now moved next to settings. So it may be a little bit easier to read through. So we're doing this kind of as a group, which means that I am going to put things out there for open question. Usually I do directed questions, but I'm going to open this up a little bit to kind of decide and set our things. And it can be one of these things, it could be multiple of these things, and it could also be something else if somebody has another idea. So the first thing that we're deciding is kind of our enemy, like what are the forces that are arrayed against us? What is the enemy fight with? And do any of those things from the list appeal to anyone, either one or a couple of these?
It's not helpful, I know. I mean, I like Dathomir Night Sisters because they have zombies,
Uh-huh.
but I can totally be convinced about that other stuff.
Other folks like that? My instinct is always to go with the first pick.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm down with that.
Okay. So we've got these forces of Dathomiri Night Sisters. They have the zombies. They may have, the Zabrak allies and such. So we've got a varied horde of foes there. So the next question is, who is actually leading this force? What's our figure that is at the head of these Dathomiri? Now, obviously, we could say a senior Dathomiri Night Sister, but these other options may kind of tweak and change up what the purpose of the foe is. I will admit, I I have a certain soft spot for saying it's a former Jedi. In the sort of the lineage of Count Dooku and other things, and it gives it interesting contrast, I think, then to who is with them. Does that seem okay? So, but a former Jedi, and we'll probably learn something about them. Like they may appear as NPCs in our past. We'll probably give them a name, establish that, figure that out. So to kind of set up something that they have done, some big thing that has happened leading up to this. This is the they've already. Um, what what sounds good there as sort of a significant bad thing that has occurred, has been done by this group.
Um, since nobody's jumping on it, I really like the idea that they sever Jedi from their contact with the Force. That's so ominous.
Okay. Does that work for everybody? Okay. Nice. Okay. So we have our base. Um, we've seen bases like this in the Empire Strikes Back with Hoth, and in Rogue One, not Rogue One, but the Last Jedi with our Rust Planet base, which I can't remember the name what the planet was. But our base, it has survived until now. For what reason? Casey Brushman?
I don't know. The leaders of the Jedi Order sacrificed themselves to gain us time. Might be an interesting choice given the fact that they've lost their contact with the Force. It would have been just like a purely physical um, thing that they did, which might be pretty horrifying
Ooh, I,
for them.
I like that. Are you all okay with that?
Yeah, or did you mention that it can be a combination of things?
Yeah, you can combine things.
So if it's like we have severed connection to magic, we will be relying more on tech. So the tech aspect will be the remaining advantage or smallest advantage we can have.
Mm-hmm.
So something to do with one of the choice was hyperspace booby traps.
Okay.
But does that mean we will be in space or
No, it means that
not
to
sure?
get to here, there were essentially hyperspace booby traps to make it harder for them to arrive. So yeah, I like that. I like combining those. So let me write that
So the
in.
sacrifice was some kind of a involving the traps.
Oh, okay. So some of
They
it was
couldn't get
them.
here
Yeah,
themselves because they were the rear guard or something.
nice. Okay. So we have, before this all starts, we have gone on a quest, and we have found something that may have been at the base that we're at, or maybe been something that we brought here that we hope is going to be the thing that's going to allow us to turn the tide tomorrow. And our quest was to locate it, to find it, whatever. So, what do you think that should be? That fits with what we've said already, or contrasts to it, that we quested for? Any thoughts? I think blueprints are probably not particularly fitting. The ancient armada, maybe not. the other four, I think, have a various appeal to me. Any of those sound good?
I mean, kyber crystals which can manifest force ghosts. So force ghosts versus force zombies. That
Oh, I
a
like that.
thing?
I dig that
Yeah,
very
that's
much.
cool.
Yeah,
Or it's
Yeah.
just a way to get back to the connection with the force.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I like that. Awesome. Do that. And then in terms of our characters, our gathering, that quest that we undertook, we have various options about what that was like, whether that was, a new thing, an old group that regathered, the once more into the void kind of battle. Any thoughts on sort of dramatically which of those appeal? Casey, I'm going to turn to you on this one here.
Something only a handful walked away from
Okay.
feels a little bit appropriate. Like if we're the only ones that are, us and maybe some others that made it back, that kind of feels like it fits in.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lowell, we haven't met, so I'm from the Midwest, so I'm
Okay.
always gonna like defer and be super
Oh,
polite.
I know. I know. So, yes, yeah. I always mention my Hoosier accent when I have new people, so I have to do that. Yeah. So I like that. Like there were more of us, and that suggests when we do our flashbacks, we may see some of those characters that were with us on the quest. We may engage with them. So that's something to keep in mind. We are the few from those who set out. So that kind of sets up our setting. Now, the next step in the book is our kind of establishing the tone. Some of that, because Seven Wonders was written before we started to see people do large formalized safety tools, there's a little bit of like the we discourage, which is really our lines and veils. But the other thing is to uh, suggest if there's things that we would encourage, like themes or ideas that people would like to see, um, uh, uh, and to kind of put those on the table. Um, and for example, I mean, and this kind of definitely is already said by the game, but I love tragic backstories. So that's very much my forte. So Brushman, uh, uh, anything else you want to add as something else that you would want to encourage, want to play out here today in our stories? Want to see?
Before that, I have a question
Sure.
about the line for cannibalism,
Hmm.
and we have zombies. So where's exactly what you
Oh, I would assume that we would mean no, not flesh-eating zombies. Just
It's
does that
just
seem?
that they're undead?
Yeah,
Is that right? Okay.
yeah.
they
Okay.
might they
No,
might bite someone, but that's my line.
There's
I
no contagion.
yeah.
We don't
No, I
morph
don't.
Okay.
into.
No, I don't think we ever saw contagion with these Night Sister zombies, and
Yeah.
zombie is just the word because they use
They
undead.
Okay. No, I
Yeah.
appreciate you asking that.
yeah.
Because I always forget about that detail. Um, so anything that else that you would want to have on our we encourage list?
I think even for tragic backstories, they would be kind of built into this, or you don't think so? I was thinking redemption, but even redemption
Oh
is
yeah,
probably part
absolutely.
of
No,
part of
I think put that on it. Like you encourage there
okay.
will be redemption arcs. That's a great classic theme. So yeah, you can add that to the list there. Um, Sabine, uh, anything else that you want to have as a an element that we want to encourage?
I mean, since we have tragic backstories, I imagine regret is already part of what we're going for here.
Mhm.
So, I think that, but I like people maybe regretting their
Okay.
life choices. Who knows?
Regrets. Oh, I just did that badly. Hang on. Z. There we go. Get in the right thing here. We'll just say regrets. I like that. And Casey, anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just maybe like tough choices, hard choices. Like it wasn't easy leaving people behind when we did, and seeing those moments and those flashbacks maybe to kind of drive the tension between us. Maybe I think would be.
I like
I
it.
mean, again, it's probably baked in, but yeah.
Yeah. Anything else anyone can think of that you want to add as a sort of direction, a push here that might be different than we have already established? Okay. Yeah, I think that's fair. We have a lot more kind of baked in already. And so right now, as it stands, and we'll come back and check on this because this is a living document. We have hard lines on sexual assault, on torture by the PCs, and on cannibalism there. Now, that gives us our setup, and the next thing we're going to do is the character creation step. So what I'm going to do is uh, uh, everyone, we'll start with you, Freshman. Go ahead and drag down, take from the deck 8 cards, and then tell us when you're done. Okay. And then Sabine, will you also take 8 cards?
Sure. Oops.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Eight. Okay.
Okay. And I think, Sabine, you are registered as player 1, weirdly. So you may want to change the name on player 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I will do that.
Yeah. And then Casey, will you grab 8? Casey, you're player 3. I'm going to grab my cards. Okay. So how this is going to work is you're going to use these cards to buy items from our lists here. If you look at the data sheet, we have the breakdown. We're going to be deciding what you are, how you're known, what you're passionate about, and what you value. And with this, we're going to go around in turn sequence. 2 people can have the same thing. It is entirely up to you. If you want to kind of duplicate up, you will play a card with that value, and you'll assign that as your trait. And you sort of, these are general things. So you can kind of talk about how you're imagining this when we do our introductions, how you're modifying that. You can always play a face card to make a different choice, like come up with something else out of there. I've got some additional items in that list down below, or you can come up with something entirely new there. And if everyone would grab on the character keeper your column, I'll let everybody grab and go ahead and put your player name and your pronouns in there so that we know who has what. Sabine always grabs yellow.
It's the closest to orange.
Yes,
So
I'll have to remember that going forward.
I do not mind if I have to take another column, but if you give me a choice, I will do that. And I've played character types just purely based on the color of the columns.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go do this in character keeper order for this sequence. Essentially, we'll go around, make our spends, and do that for the first. So the first is going to be yes.
The things we're selecting can it be out of order?
In terms of what you want to choose first, the many know me as,
or do you think it's not to the spirit of the game?
I don't know. Let's be flexible, and let's say if you want to make your choice on another thing, that is fine. If there's something that you think sets your template first, you're more than welcome to. Let's try it that way. I'm going to stay in order. Let's see. Data. What do I want to be here? Let's see what cards I have that I can use this as. Okay, I've got 2 face cards. What is that? Okay, so I'm gonna put out on the table a 3, and I think I'm going to, for my character, I'm going to choose the failed apprentice. Casey, your turn.
Tough choices.
Yeah. Screen share briefly for people at home so you can see what our data table looks like.
All right, I'll play a 2 and take the Outcast Jedi.
Okay. Excellent. And then Sabine?
I think I might just go with and put it down to 7 and go with Master of the Force.
Okay.
There you go. No, there you go.
Okay. And then Brushman?
I'm gonna go for wait, a rugged colonist.
Okay. Dropping a face card and choosing one of the additional options. Okay. That swings it back to me then. Okay, I don't have that. So what do I want? I'm going to play a face card, and I'm going to choose this Bearer of Aberrant Powers as my pick for my many know me as. Aberrant. Nope. Not going to let me do that, is it? Okay. Grab that. 1 second. Okay. That's okay. I don't care, buddy. I just put it as other. Okay. Next is Casey.
I think I'm also gonna use a face card and take Unwilling Mentor
Ooh,
off that extra list. I think.
I like that. Sabine.
I'm wondering if I'm going with a face card and be a loyal retainer, or if I'm going just taking my 2 and be a reform killer. I think I'd
Ooh,
do the reform killer because, I mean, why not?
yeah,
Right? I'm a master of the force and a reform killer, which seems interesting.
I like that. If you take one of the ones that you have to fill in, you can go to uh, insert drop down, choose that for that particular cell, and then choose remove rule when it pops up off to the side, and that'll clear it. And then you can just put in what you want. So, Brushman, what is the many know me as for your character?
Oh, let me double check. An exiled outsider.
Okay, nice. All right, now we come around to the I am passionate about and I value. So one of the things is these are they kind of parallel, but they're intended kind of to be a little bit different. Passion means kind of what you obviously pursue, and maybe value is kind of internal. These are things that we're going to come in a bit, and we're going to be kind of building contrast between our characters, things that other people react to that they don't agree with necessarily, or things that they know a secret about. So that's what they are. So we're looking for juicy plot hooks, effectively, is what we're doing there. So I'm going to look in at the data. Oh, do I have that? Yeah. Uh, I don't want this. I'm going to play a 9, and I'm going to choose revenge. That's classic bad passion or a failed apprentice. Uh, Casey, what about you?
Yeah, I think I have a 5, so let's go with Enlightenment.
Nice. I use my second 2 and go with loyalty.
Okay. Interesting for the reform killer. I like that. Nice contrast.
What do you think why I was a killer?
Yes. And then Brushman?
Sorry, the back and forth is confusing me.
I know.
Uh, so this, I I don't know how it's gonna play out. I'm gonna choose self-control.
Ooh, interesting. And then let's see. So my last one, what do I value? Have one of those. Yes, I do. Okay, so I'm going to play an 8 here, and I'm going to choose I value history. I think that's going to be for me in the sense of like the classic Star Wars lineage of force bearers kind of thing. So, Casey?
Oh, interesting. I have a 10, so let's go with honesty.
Ooh.
I will choose a face card and I will choose sacrifice.
Okay. Uh, and now I want to give you, I know some of you have already got your names there, but I want to give us all a few minutes to kind of choose a species, find a picture, choose a name. So we'll do that, and then we'll kind of move on to the next step. So this is our kind of our like
Yeah.
chewing on
Um,
this for a few minutes.
I'm still curious what
Oh
Brushman's
gosh,
character
I'm
will write.
sorry. I'm absolutely running ahead of the game here. I'm so sorry. This is my pacing problem.
No, it's okay. It's gonna be a review now.
So what do you value?
Gonna use another face card and choose harmony.
Ooh, okay, nice. Yeah, nice variety of things there for everybody. And now, in fact, we'll do what I was just talking about because I jumped
Originally, I
ahead too
wanted
much.
to so I wanted to pick something else for this section, but I realized I don't have the card for it.
Oh,
So it's okay.
uh, I am going to grab everybody's cards back now, so you'll see everything vanish as I recall and shuffle. Call all. Okay, we got that. And I should probably change my name up here. Da-da.
Can I ask how do I remove the data validation from
Oh,
that cell?
so if you go to if you select that cell
Mm-hmm.
and then go to insert
Mm-hmm.
and go down to where it says drop down,
Yes, okay.
and then it'll pop up to the side the rule, and you can just say remove rule.
Yeah, okay. I've done that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't do anything, but I've done it, maybe. Who knows?
It should allow
Okay.
you to edit it now, I think.
Yes, it allows me to edit. Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you. I had the same question. I did not
Okay.
understand the first time you said
Oh, I'm
that.
sorry.
Sorry. No, no, no. I just am terrible with these sheets. It blows my mind that people put them together like as intricately as they do.
Yeah. Well, and they've changed how they did drop downs that in a way that just makes me furious. So, all right, let's see. What do I want to be? I guess I should probably find a picture first. Okay, I've got a picture now, so that helps.
If I can't find a picture, is it okay?
Oh, it's more than fine. Absolutely. There is a certain rabbit hole to having to search for those and never quite finding exactly what you want.
Yeah, I'm always terrible at that. Like I think Sabine was it like 4 or 5 sessions in another game before I finally had a picture. Like it took me forever. Like it's just I never really paid much mind, but
That is a very good picture that you found. No, I like looking for pictures. I only will change them when I find a better one.
Yes.
That's like, oh my God, I have to, ooh, and because usually I have an idea in my head, and then it's like, oh, this character needs to look exactly like that. But it never does. It's still, sometimes I find a good picture. I like the stare of this guy. He's seen shit. I'll skip out for a second. I might
Sure.
have to chase away a pigeon.
Oh, Give everybody another couple of minutes. Bird-wise, I will never forget the session that Rich ran where in the background for Garrett, there were chickens outside and they were very loud.
Are we also creating the backstory at this time?
Yeah, it's just whatever you want to put together. We'll give another couple minutes. You don't have to. I mean, certainly you can do that in the introductions and so on. Just give everybody a chance. Drink this entire pot of coffee, apparently. Okay. So what we're going to do next is character introductions, kind of going through how we're envisioning our character, what we feel. Now, what I want us to be listening for are opportunities to find disagreements. Because each of us is going to come up with a disagreement for a different character. We're going to build these interactions between our characters to flesh out their relationships, starting with this potential conflict. We'll each pick a character whose strong belief our character disagrees with and write that down to remind ourselves why that upsets them so much. If you find your strong belief is too generic or specific for other characters to disagree with, you can tweak it now for other characters there. So what I'd like before we go to introductions is to like look at what you've got in terms of passion and values and come up with a belief statement. Like, what do you believe in strongly? And then when we go through introductions, after we do that, we're going to find that disagreement. So I'll give everybody a couple minutes to think on that. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce my character. We'll go along in character keeper order. If you don't have something written in, we're going to elaborate this verbally. You can write that in. And then once we've gone through everyone's introductions, we'll go around again and do those disagreements. So I'm running Chara Renstar, she, her for the pronouns. She, I have homeward as Dathomir, but I don't think that's where her family originally was. I think that there was a Jedi enclave on Dathomir attempting to perhaps bring more of the Dathomiri in over time, but I think maybe recently or a while ago that was destroyed. But she's from a line of Jedi, and she possesses a number of powers and abilities which were different, which had not manifested before, and the masters had a hard time helping her control or contain them. I think a certain amount of arrogance about her bloodline, and also, her own insecurities meant that she was an apprentice to several different masters, and they each in turn gave up on her. And that I think that she both has to win because she has to prove that they should have worked, they should have kept with her, they should have made more of an effort. I think there's a certain amount of aggrandizement that she wants. And I think there was one master who did perhaps try to convince her to stay. But of course, by that time, she'd already talked herself out of remaining. And he died in this battle against these Night Sisters. And that kind of fuels her desire for revenge, which she is passionate about. And I think that she's come to the decision that revenge is not inherently bad. Like, it's not a dark side thing. If the person's truly bad, then it's maybe even a good thing that revenge is about, can be about equalizing light and dark. She's talked herself into this story to justify her own vision there. So that's what I'm picturing for my character there. Casey?
Yeah. I'll be playing Jor Irana. Rana? I don't know. Irana. Jor Irana. He, him pronouns. Also from Dathomir, but probably a native Zabrak who moved off world probably at a young age to get trained by the Jedi, but was cast out for engaging the dark side, I guess, in pursuit of enlightenment. And has since probably found some other cast outs, or maybe some folks sought him out in the capacity of not being able to be trained by the Jedi, but having some force powers. And so I think he's probably trained a few apprentices in his day, but in a more unconventional way. Um, and I think what he sees as the problem with this like oncoming invasion in these Night Sisters is that it's like a corruption to the Force. His pursuit of enlightenment has led him to see that there's not really a distinction between the light side and the dark side. It's all like the totality of the Force, and what you do with the Force is the thing that makes it in this like false dichotomy, either light or dark, right? It's how you use the tool. And yeah, I think he sees the way that our opposition is using the tool as sort of a terrible corruption for, of the Force, and wants to it's not the Force needs balance thing. It's like the Force needs some healing maybe there, I think.
I like that. That gives us a nice set of concepts to work with. Sabine?
Yeah, my character is called Master Tristan Denali. He, him pronouns, comes from Silos originally, which is a rather, it's a dusty, deserty word somewhere in the rim. He did not grow up there for a long time. He was brought to the Jedi Temple and raised there. He just became a Jedi Master, and he has been a sort of an enforcer for the Jedi Council because he's pretty good at fighting, and he was strong in the Force. Might have been a bit over enthusiastic about the whole thing. They rein him in because that he's a reformed killer, not doing that anymore because you shouldn't overdo that apparently. But he was doing what he was told, basically. Right? He was following orders. He had to take up fighting again for current conflict, and during that mission that we had, he was separated from the force by the Dathomiri Night Sisters, which was not great for him. He has to win tomorrow because he has to defend the order. That is what he's supposed to do, and also maybe that is his only chance. He has to reconnect with the Force, and he belongs strongly that you have to give yourself up to serve your cause, even if it means having to do things you disagree with. That's the sacrifice thing that he cares about. Doesn't just mean sacrificing your body; also means sacrificing your belief in a way, or yourself, because there's a greater cause than your individual thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Nice. And Brushman.
So I don't know if I'm being too wishy-washy, but might be in line with the character concept as well.
Okay.
Being someone who was always trying to balance the needs of many different groups. Back in the homeworld, I haven't decided. I don't remember the town where the first Mandalorian episode was in, where there was a very isolated community that had an oppressive force that troubles them, not necessarily the empire, but if for what you said, the 100-year timeline still works for having an empire force present in a community like Ferrex, since
Probably would
that's
have been
fresh on my mind.
like different areas that would have been outside of the Republic that have been under like feudal lord control, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, whichever that makes sense, that could be the whole world. It's just so that this colonist Quasar, any pronoun, that even for like gender, they do not believe it has to be one way or the other, that both can exist at the same time in the same place. But the trouble with that is sometimes there are just very extreme ends that cause suffering for a lot of people. And eventually not having a very firm stand makes them hated by everyone. So they are ousted, or they're just not getting any support from the community that they had to leave. And everywhere they go, they still try to maintain this harmony. I believe that you can always achieve some level of peace and have the most amount of people not have to die from fighting, that they eventually would just lose those that are closest to them because they died in the fighting. Anything else I need to mention?
No, I
The
think
way
that
they
gives-
look is just very nondescript.
Okay.
Someone who's just trying to blend in, be one with whatever everyone else wants you to be. That sort of vibe.
I dig that. So now we're going to go around and come up with disagreements kind of based on the character's beliefs. Now, there are some structural things here. Is ideally each person should disagree with a different person. That's one thing. And two, ideally, it shouldn't be reciprocal. In the sense that if I disagree with Kawasha, they don't have their disagreement with me. So there will be a little bit of that. So just to tell you that we're going to aim for that. This is one of those places in the game where, like, when you're at a table, you're like, okay, how do I figure out how this goes? So because of that, I'm going to go last. So I'll play pickup in that way. So Casey, anything that you see that, like, based on other people's beliefs, what they've set up, you could state that you have a strong disagreement with another character.
Yeah, kind of. I think maybe the most interesting might be to disagree with Sabine or Tristan, as someone who's sort of like still allied heavily with the actual Jedi Order, especially if I guess maybe clarifying question, Sabine, like if you're going to give yourself up for the cause, is that like the cause of the Jedi, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
cause of the
Then
Jedi Order. That
yeah, yeah,
they're the
yeah,
thing that I've always given myself up for.
yeah.
Maybe I have
Then
my
I think.
doubts about that, but no, not really. That those doubts are very deep down.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think I would disagree with that idea then for sure, as someone who's been outcast and sees the Force in a slightly different way. Like I don't know if I think of the Jedi as much of a like corruption or like badness. Like I think they might have a slightly more generous interpretation of the Force than the Sith or whatever, right? But I think they're probably like, they're both wrong in my opinion, I guess. So
Okay.
I think yeah, that's probably the best or like the thing that comes most to mind right away.
Okay. So the Jedi Order is not inherently valuable. It's not inherently good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I dig that. Tristan?
Yeah, I think I will disagree with what's the name here? Sorry. Quasar's belief that peace and harmony is best what's for the majority of people. Peace and harmony are great if they care, but they need to be defended, right? You need to sometimes you have to pick up your lightsaber or what have you and just fight for what you believe in, because that or you don't need to do that. You just need to let the Jedi do that, obviously. But yeah, peace and harmony is what's good for the majority of people. Uh, yeah, that can also lead to complacence, right? And that sometimes you have to fight. And also, it rubs me the wrong way
Yes.
that somebody really can believe that because I've spent my whole life fighting for peace, basically.
I dig that. Are you okay with that, freshman?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you choose either uh, uh, Casey or I for the person that you disagree with.
Originally, when I first heard about the word revenge, ooh, that is it. But then you said it's only revenge against the uh, dark, the Sith or dark Jedi side of
Well,
things.
I'm justifying myself that way. That's my excuse.
But I'm
Well,
afraid
yeah,
you'll have to choose that, because otherwise Lowell will have to choose to disagree with themselves. That
Oh, that's true.
just
okay,
saying.
yes.
Thank you for the mechanical there. Yeah.
The revenge is not against the Jedi Order itself for abandoning you, right?
Yeah. It's just that
It's
I
against.
justify, like, my desire for revenge by saying, well, really revenge is okay because I'm really just killing villains. Is my rationalization there.
So I think that the disagreement might be related to self-control and harmony. Yeah, that's that if you are willing to upset the balance through revenge, you can become the unbalancing force yourself.
I like that. So critiquing my desire for revenge through your own philosophy of balance. I dig that. And then I need to disagree with Casey, which I think should be pretty easy. Because while I believe in revenge, I think I also strongly believe that there's a light side and a dark side. My you know well, I also just completely mistyped that, but copy, paste. Goes to. So I think she's rationalizing that revenge can be light side because she strongly does believe there is a light and a dark side, that there are these two paths and that they're very distinct and separate. She's just changing the definition there a little bit. So that gives us these moments. So why are these important? You'll notice that by these, there's a checkbox. When we get to playing, if you bring up that particular controversy, that particular dispute in an exchange with that player in our playthrough, you'll check that box. And then when we get to sort of the end game, the end resolution, you can spend that checkbox to manipulate the cards that we use for deciding the final fate of people. So that's kind of the incentive that is tied to that. The last thing we're going to do before we take a break is we're going to talk about secrets. So we're going to set up a web of secrets in the same way where we're going to try and not double up. And again, ideally, if your secret can be from a different person than you had your disagreement with, we will go for that. So here's what they say. They say there is something important about each of our characters' values, which they don't know themselves, as we players won't know until that is revealed during the game. And that secret's going to fundamentally challenge their understanding of themselves. So this is going to be a secret that we know that will get called out and may shift things around, about who your father actually is our classic Star Wars reference for that. I'm going to go, if I may, I'm going to go the opposite order here for this. This one's a little bit tougher, so we may need to kind of talk it out. But it's also one of those ones where if we invoke it during play, we reveal that secret to that character, then we'll mark that, and it can be used in the end game. Now, one of the things that isn't said in Seven Wonders that I want us to also keep in mind is we're going to be doing these secrets. We do want to check in with the players to make sure they're cool with the secret that we come up with, because it could be fairly devastating or super changing. So let's come to you, Kiwasa. We've got
You can say Quasar
Quasar?
if
Quasar.
it helps.
Okay, yeah. This is the whole Coruscant thing for me.
I actually started with Quasar, but I didn't want to use the word Quasar.
I think that's fair. So you should pick a secret ideally about Jor or Master Tristan.
Yeah, this is gonna be hard.
This one's tough. Like this is the toughie. Whenever I've done this, this is the place that people go, "Ooh, where do we go from here?"
And these are supposed to relate to the thing you value, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is fairly flexible given how
Right.
hard it can be
They're
to
pretty
come up with.
broad
Yeah.
too. Yeah. Yeah. Cool, cool.
Can you remind me what the unwilling part is referring to? Is it unwilling to teach the Jedi's original philosophy? Or
Yeah, and maybe maybe just doesn't necessarily like the teaching aspects or like the responsibility. That's what it is. The responsibility you feel for showing someone something that might turn them to the dark side, right? Or you might lose them in their abilities if you don't train them well. And I think it all kind of gets messy, right? Like you're unwilling, so maybe you don't train them as well as you should, right? It's like kind of a spiral there. But I think it's about not wanting to teach the dichotomy or like the definitely not wanting to teach Jedi style, I guess. And also, yeah, maybe just truly understands the responsibility of training someone in the ways of the Force in a way that's slightly different than other people, I think.
yes, I'm thinking something about one of the teachings. It's either correct when you think it's incorrect, or it is incorrect that you believe is the true path.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I'm as a player always believes in the gray. So
Sure.
I'm agree with you as a player.
So what do you think is the secret? What's the thing that you could reveal to uh uh, uh Jor during this that would kind of, have an impact or change them?
that there hmm. Can you give me an example of
Yeah,
their teachings? Like passion leads to what they're saying is strong emotion leads to the dark side. Would you
Oh,
believe that? Would Jor believe that?
ooh, interesting. Yeah. What is it? Is it anger leads to hate leads to suffering, or whatever? Fear leads to anger leads to hate leads to suffering, something like that.
Sabine knows. I heard her talk about. I heard they talk about it. Heard them talk about it in the other actual play.
Uh, maybe it was a suggestion, just as an idea, is that the secret is uh, that while you have these beliefs, in fact, your teaching has created some Sith, has actually ended up, uh, uh, you know, creating some of the very people we're fighting, and that would be a revelation. Does that feel okay to you, Casey?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be interesting for sure. Um, yeah, maybe I mean either directly like past apprentices have fallen to the dark
Hmm.
side, or someone has taken the wisdom, or like, yeah, maybe one of my apprentices, maybe one of Jor's past apprentices has like taken the teachings and trained other apprentices. Wow, we're gonna
Yeah.
skip that word. Trained
Yes.
others to like with the teachings from Jor towards like the dark side.
Okay.
That might be
Or one of your uh like new believers or disciples who went out and started broadly preaching the idea to people who might not be ready to use
yeah.
those ideas,
Yeah.
and they riled up certain members of the community and made the balance or harmony harder for Quasar to maintain. And eventually people they care about had to fight and die to defend this disruptive force from the outside.
So Quasar, you have that in your back pocket. That's not something that Jor is aware of yet. That's a secret that then you can pull out to cause our reactions.
Have to figure out the
Awesome.
name, is that right?
Yeah.
Or can it be very like in or can it be vague?
Yeah, you know,
So that we
we can
only
figure out
hear about certain
when you
philosophy
come
that
up with it, you can decide how you want to present that by name or whatnot. Um,
Yeah, that's
uh,
very cool.
yeah. Sabine, what would
I
you like to do
know.
for your secret?
I know a secret. I think I know a secret about, and it has to deal with the value they chose. So I think it has to be kind of, yeah, I think it has to be you, Chara, and your history that
Okay.
you, because I mean I'm a full-blown master Jedi. I have studied sometimes history because yeah, well, that's what you do in the temple, right? So I know something about your settlement, the people you came from, and maybe I know that there were traditionally not training grounds for Jedi, but for maybe not exactly Sith. Maybe yeah, maybe they started out as a colony of runaways of a runaway Sith apprentice.
So I think that I'm part of the Jedi
Yeah.
Order and Jedi training, but in
Mhm.
fact, this tradition goes back to something darker.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Okay.
I dig that a lot.
Cool.
That brings us to Jor.
Yeah, interesting.
So that gives you Tristan, right? Tristan to disagree to have a secret about, right?
Yeah, but I disagree with Tristan. Does that matter?
I don't think that matters at this point because we could get
Okay,
to this the complication
right.
of
Otherwise,
the
it would.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, well, immediately looking at the fact that Tristan is loyal and values sacrifice, was there a time you like ran away from a extreme conflict that might have put you in jeopardy and like no one knows like
That would
maybe
be
like you sorry, go
that would be
ahead.
a secret that I know, though. So this has to be something that I did. Maybe
Oh, sure.
something I did out of sacrifice and loyalty created a very bad outcome that I am not aware about. Or my sacrifice was in vain, or something like that. Or my sacrifice survived. I mean, sorry, apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
You could also know a secret, I think, about Quasar, though, just saying.
True, true.
If you don't want to double up with
Right.
disagreeing and knowing secrets and
enough.
stuff like that.
Oh, good point. Thank you.
It's amazing how blank your brain goes when you're on the
Yeah,
spot,
yeah,
right?
yes.
It's like, what's a secret?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I, I, I actually have an idea for Tristan, and maybe
Okay.
that put Kewasha in your hands if that's okay. Um, uh, I think that uh, and tell me if this is okay with you, that uh, like when you were still very much loyal to the Order of the Jedi, uh, like you were sent effectively on what should have been a a suicide mission. And they thought, well, he's kind of a killer, so it doesn't matter. So there were some amongst the senior Jedis who were willing, despite your loyalty, to just throw you away. Does that sound okay?
Oh, that sounds lovely. That's great. Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking, Casey, it might be something about like uh their origin, like Kawasha's Quasar's origin. It might be that in fact, you know, they come from actually a very different community, and that's a secret. While they were raised among the colonists, in fact, uh, some sort of parent or sibling or something is actually a great warrior.
Wait,
Or even a pirate.
sorry, who is this referring to? Is it
Uh,
still
Casey, figuring out for Jor's secret, and in this case, knowledge would be knowledge about Quasar.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess that just yeah, that just puts it in a position where Quasar might like be question their loyalty then or whatever, right? Because of where they're like so steeped in the community that they're from, or they think that they're from, and forging those alliances and making the everything good there. But there's like an outside force maybe that's in, or like they're tied to an outside force that is somehow related to that, or
I like that. Does that work for you, Quasar? We can kind of play with it as we go.
Can you rephrase that? You're saying Quasar is from even a different community than the homeworld, or what do you
yeah,
mean?
like maybe yeah, being raised as a colonist, or like being a colonist, like your interest is so focused on the colony or the planet or like that the local community, but like there's yeah, you have a relation to like a larger force, or like something that's maybe even impacting that, right? Like your parents, your grandparents, or like your family clan, so to speak, or something, come from somewhere that isn't necessarily aligned with your beliefs as of now.
So from someplace different, like 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 your parents were warlords or something of that kind,
But that
or
that wouldn't
grandparents.
necessarily change change Quasar's belief, though. It, mm, I
So
have
what might
offered
be a secret that would undercut Quasar?
the original community that they were ousted from has been destroyed due to the festering problem that was not properly resolved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
ignored. Like, yeah, let's not put
Yeah, let's
because
not fight.
harmony.
Okay.
Let's not talk about this. Like,
Does that work for you, Casey?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
good.
Awesome.
But it won't be Ferex since Ferex still exists. So it'd be somewhere else.
Yeah, we'll figure out
Okay.
the detail on that. All right. So we're going to take a break. This is we're going to take 10 minutes. This is our longer break. We're going to come back and I'm going to talk about the structure for doing the story play with the cards and how all that works. And then we will get moving on that so that we can get at least one round before the big break. So take 10. We'll be back and I'm going to pause the recording. So we're going to set our stage for play here. Before we do that, I kind of want to tell you sort of generally how this is going to go. We're going to set up where we're at the base. We're going to put the name for it in just a second, but we're going to kind of start play in there. I'm going to kind of narrate. We'll add some details to that. Then we're just going to kind of play our characters out. And what we're looking for are questions that we have for the other characters. And when you want to ask that question, when you want to prompt a flashback, you can say flashback, and you will draw a card, and you're going to either give that card that you've just drawn to the player that you're asking the question, or if you've got a card in front of you, you can give them that. At the start, you're just going to be giving them the card. Uh, uh, the colors of the cards matter at the end in terms of who lives and who dies. I'll talk about that in a bit. If anyone draws a face card, we put a little check mark on the Battle Chronicle, which is on the setting tab. So the person that the question is being asked of, they get to then kind of set the scene, and they can set the scene for a flashback. Other people can play NPCs. Maybe if one of the other characters was there at that flashback, they can play that out. And essentially, we play that out until that question is kind of answered. So we flash back, and then we kind of come back to the present with that question actually being asked by the character. So we meta kind of flashback, and then we kind of see what that person's answer is
Oh, okay.
now in the present time with the kind of callback to that. So there's kind of a two-stage that if when someone asks you a question, you'd rather not like do a full scene, like a full scene play out. And again, a full scene is just a few minutes. But if you'd rather like narrate what happens, you can also do that. You can also feel free to kind of narrate out the scene for that. If during play, either in the flashbacks or in the present, you challenge that belief or you reveal that secret, you get to mark that checkbox through that. To tell you what it is at the end, red cards are about death scenes. Black cards are about surviving and winning. So the more black cards, and there will be a decision about that. And there's going to be some possible trading based on those marks that you have. And we're going to do this in rounds. So in the first round, we're going to is going to be once everybody has essentially answered a question, everybody will have a card in front of them. So that's the basics. There's some other rules for if we have disagreements about things to resolve that and things, but otherwise it's a fairly diceless game. So the one thing is, what is the name of our enemy? Like who is this master? Anyone want to randomly generate a Jedi name or find one that we've got there? Go to my Star Wars Old Republic. Male or female, Sabine?
Female, I think, because
Okay.
she's leading the Night Sisters, and I think they would not be super happy by being led by a dude.
Absolutely. Let's get. I'm hitting the thing on this to get names that I can pronounce. Let's see.
So would you want something like a term like
Oh yeah,
the
what's
new
what's what's the
center?
what's the title for this person, for this Jedi,
the new center,
the new
something along that line. They're offsetting the balance so that it's all Sith. It's a spectrum of Sith instead of the spectrum of Jedi to Sith.
Okay, so the new center, she this Jedi is calling herself the new center. Her name is Jades Cheba. So that's our randomly generated name. What is the name of our base? Yeah, in fact, we'll spell Jades Cheba like you just phonetically did it. It's even better.
I
like it. It's
Yeah.
actually easier to
think
pronounce.
I think it might be the decorum base. For whatever reason. I just popped it in my mind.
Okay.
Can go with someone else, something else though.
Quorum base. So I'm picturing, just because I've done it, we did it earlier in the week. I'm picturing that this base is actually an old Jedi temple, like kind of fallen into ruins. You know, we see the statues that have collapsed outside. You know, even in the Old Republic, this was an old thing. This is the pyramids of Egypt for our characters there. So, uh, Jor, what's another thing, another detail about this place when the camera comes in and we see the troops there, we see us there, what else do we see?
I feel like it's got to be these like kyber crystals that we found, right? Like um sitting on a some sort of like central thing or plinth of some sort, like, and maybe it's a dark and stormy night, and that's like the light that's in the room, right?
Oh,
That's sort of like
nice.
illuminating all of us in this sort of like gentle green glow or something.
Yeah. The main chamber of the temple lit by that, we can hear the sound of the thunder outside, the purple lightning
Yeah.
happening. Um uh Tristan, what's another detail about this place, another detail about this scene?
I think from the shadows, like the surrounding room, are statues of the old Jedi masters who built the temple. But the temple's so old that all their faces have eroded. So they have you can maybe sense what species they once were, but you cannot make out individual features. And Tristan's maybe trying to figure out who's who or who might be who.
Excellent. And Quasar, what's another detail, another thing that we see in the scene?
A lot of dismantled ship components, while teams of engineers and mechanics are still trying to build smaller versions of the hyperdrive booby trap that stop the enemy from coming. So they might be thinking if they do arrive, we can stop them from getting out faster. Something to the effect of further hindering the enemy's movement.
Nice. Nice. And now everyone should draw a card and put it into your hand. Uh, so I'm going to start. Essentially, I'm going to kind of narrate some things, and then we'll kind of, if other people want to take up details, we'll play on that until we get to a question. I'll and lead off. So I'm imagining Chara kind of walking over there, it's like one of the commanders, in the various Old Republic uniforms comes in, maybe starts to head for Jor because Jor looks a little more senior. But I think Chara intercepts him to hear about the readings that they've picked up in system. That some of the hyperspace booby traps have been set off as we expected. That this is giving us, an estimated time of arrival of, if they are truly following through, we have maybe 7-8 hours before the Dathomiri ships and the new center arrives on planet. And I think Chara maybe makes a big show of coming back and very officiously telling everyone those details. That we have just a few hours left. I don't know if we should ready ourselves, but yes, just be aware that yeah, the timetable is as we thought. Yeah, then maybe looks around to see how others are reacting.
Yeah, Tristan springs basically not into action precisely, but he'll answer and says, well, we should maybe get some rest before they arrive, so we'll be refreshed. I understand that that is hard at the eve of battle for those who have not experienced it. We might also meditate on things we plan to do or things we plan to leave, because this will be a hard fight. And if anybody's got anything to say to someone, maybe now's the time to make a recording. And he's really like just going through the motions, basically. You can
Okay.
hear that he's done that quite often, and he's a little preoccupied though.
I imagine it's something we've heard before when we've been out on our quest, this approach.
Oh yeah, totally. That going through the recommended procedures, right?
I think I look at Jor to see what Jor's reaction is to this, given that we're close to the end and maybe some of the politeness of getting along is starting to crack.
Yeah, I think so. We've established that the Jedi have been cut off from the Force, but Jor is not a Jedi, right? So I think I think Jor is definitely going to make the point of like, Tristan was like, meditate or like get our heads right, and like Jor's gonna find comfort in the Force. So I don't know if there's like a physical manifestation of that, but or like a because I don't think he'd like show off, right? But like I think um
Crossing your legs and lifting just slightly off the
right,
ground.
right. Something to that effect, right? Something that like gives some indication that he's attuned to the Force in this moment. And yeah, probably says something like, the Force will provide, or um, like agreeing with Tristan a little bit, but also like putting putting themselves there in a position of privilege, almost, right? Like I can still
Mhm.
feel the Force. I still have this.
Nice.
The Force comforts me, right?
Oh, right, yeah. Well, Tristan will not rise to the occasion because he's heard worse, but still, he's still looking to the kyber crystals, and you can see this concentration on his face, like he's trying to reach out, and there's some frustration that he tries, of course, then to suppress, because that would be anger, and anger leads to hate. Hate leads to he might actually go with and he will start to go into litany, like the Force is with us, with me, and I'm with the Force, but it doesn't work right now. So he'll get up and say, I'll check the parameter, something. I mean, he can still use his lightsaber. You don't have to
Mhm.
be able to sense the Force for that. So maybe maybe do something like that. But probably just walk around and admonish the people who are not doing as good a job as he thinks they should.
And Lowell, is it like at any point we can ask for a flashback, or
Yeah, we can say, hey, I have a question for this particular character, and then we kind of flash to to that, and then if we come back to the present with you actually asking that question.
sure? Well, so my question, I guess, well, if I needed more pointed question, but I was wondering if Tristan was like part of the like group of Jedi Masters that was responsible for removing Jor from the Order, or if you were there. And I guess at this point, I guess the real
Yeah.
pointed question would
So,
be like, do you regret that? I guess, right? Like since I still maintain contact with the Force, maybe.
yeah. So that's a question. That's a pointed question. It's addressed to Tristan. So what you will do now is you're going to draw a card and give it to Tristan, and Tristan will put that in front of them. This is the after this, you'll be able to choose whether you want to swap cards. So we'll talk about that.
Okay, so I just take a card off of the
Take a
deck and
card, put
set
it by
it face up in
Sabine.
front of.
Yep.
Okay.
So got a red there. So Sabine, now it's in your in your hands about how you want to do this flashback. What do we see?
Yeah, and let's see the freshly painted, and it's really the contrast, this new temple in Coruscant, because at that point in time it's fairly new and been recently unveiled, and we see a lot of serious Jedi masters stand around like and they're all looking super serious, serene, but this is not something that is easy for anyone. And I think Jorah's there, obviously, because they're talking about him. And I think Tristan remembers Jedi Master. What was the name of the Jedi Master from Thursday? What is with it wasn't with P, something with P. Which is great.
Which one?
The murder victim.
Oh, the murder victim. Oh gosh, Count. Now you're asking me, and I'm gonna forget it
Oh,
completely.
okay. Forget it. Then we'll just call him Master Panushka or something. He looks like he's been pretty vocal about this. He, I think, is Nautilin, one of the guys with a lot of tentacles. And he's like, no, this cannot stand. This man has dabbled in the dark side, and you can almost hear the ominous music coming with his voice. And I mean, Tristan is just standing there. He's like, he doesn't seem like he has a deeper opinion about the whole thing. But what happens then? And then how's Jor reacting to this dude? Not dude is the wrong word, to this master was bearing down on him, like, how do you dare question the wisdom of the Jedi masters that has been handed down for centuries? And maybe someone wants to play him. I'm sorry, should have invited someone in to play this Panushka guy.
Freshman, do you want to play the overbearing Jedi?
The goal of this person is to admonish Jorah.
To get Jorah out of the order, I think he's the.
So like the final moment of casting out. Shit. What you espouse will only lead our disciples astray. We cannot have such an insidious force within our own order. All in favor?
I think various masters are raising their tentacles, hands, paws, whatnot.
I think Tristan is not. Tristan is abstaining from a vote. He might be in little of a twitchy of a insecure standing because of the whole killer thing. And I think sorry, Jordan, do you reply to this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jor remains pretty steady. It says something like, your narrow-sighted view of the Force has hindered and failed all of your apprentices more than anything I've done failed mine. Your adherence to false dichotomies and order, your love of, and like looks around the room, is like, these temples will cause more destruction than you know, I guess. I don't want to say more than the Sith, because that's probably wrong, but more than you know.
Is that a threat? Errana,
No.
like leaves off the master, definitely there.
Mm.
Yeah. No. No. It is simply the truth.
The truth is too grand for any of us to know. You most of all.
I think you cast out, Jor.
Yeah, and
but-
Tristan will guide you. Like he won't attack you, but there's a threat because I mean Tristan is the enforcer guy. This is not. I think he's gets asked to kind of throw you
Yeah,
out.
yeah. It's like when you call security, right? Like
Yeah,
put your stuff
yeah.
in
I
a
mean,
box and get out of here. Yeah.
yeah, and he does not seem to feel anything about that. He's doing his duty. Yeah.
Maybe behind closed doors, the master might say, this humbling experience would do him good.
Nice. Jor, is there anything you say to Tristan on the exit, or do we cut back to the present for you asking that question?
Yeah, let's just come back. I think that feels like leaving on like that look that they share, right? I'm sure Jor sort of gives Tristan a look, right? At least, like, I don't know if there's no words exchanged, it's that sort of like disdainful, like, if you're just gonna sit here and follow orders, that's fine, I'll leave, right? But yeah, then we come back. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And
And you're
and you're asking that question. So how does that look in the present?
Yeah, maybe it's in that moment when Tristan is looking at the kyber crystals, right? And there's like a concentration on his face. Um and maybe, yeah, maybe Jor does get a little bit petty at that point, and sort of leans in and is like, it feels good, the power. Can you feel it? I can.
well, I have been targeted by our enemy. But it never was about the power for me anyway.
Hmm. So you don't have any regrets? You're still
I have a
loyal to the
multitude.
order?
I have a multitude of regrets. My loyalty to the order is not one of them. Enjoy your power if that is what the force means to you.
Nice. I actually have, I have a question that I think I'm going to be putting to Quasar here, because I actually really want to know. I do think that Chana approaches and like is maybe hinting that, if you want to go back in the protected chambers, the not saying explicitly the Jedi are here to do this battle kind of thing, but uh, I guess my question for Quasar is, how did you get mixed up in this? Like, how did you get drawn onto this quest? How did you get involved? That's my big question, and I'm going to give you a card here.
Or were we supposed to do anything with the card that
No, they'll stay in front of
Okay.
you when we do
Okay.
the next round.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I have drawn a face card and given Quasar that. So then I go to the setting sheet because we draw, and I click the first tick of the battle record there on the Last Jedi. So we know that is going to happen when we go to resolve the final battle.
So the first face card goes to me.
Yeah,
It's such a bad omen.
So yeah, I'm very curious. Like what do we see? What's our flashback? Like, how did you get mixed up in all this?
Maybe on their travels with maybe one of their lost friends from the latest community, that they managed to stay long enough to gain some support, local support. And they were attacked by either the exact group of Night Sisters or by the center herself, the new center herself, like caught in the crossfire, since Quasar will not be part of any resistance fighting force against this enemy. And in their desperate attempt to keep a promise to her dying friends, that you have to stop this greatest threat that they have ever known. Otherwise, our families back home, like Quasar's friends' families back home, will also suffer because of inaction. Do you want it to be played out?
No, you can just narrate. Like if you're cool with that, you can, if that's the way you want to set it up and kind of narrate that, that's great. You know, and I do think there is, like, if you're okay, I'll cut back to the present.
Yeah.
Okay. I do think that Chara will kind of like doesn't know your backstory. You've been here. I mean, you've helped out. You've been part of the quest. You're one of the survivors of it. But I think she will say, I know your philosophy. I know your idea of harmony. And there are Jedi that espouse that. But I still don't understand why you're here, why you have remained, why this is your fight. Why, Quasar? Can we trust you?
Only my actions will prove that. But I know for too long I've stood on the sidelines, hoping not to rock the boat and disrupt peace. Because I know what it's like to be a force of destruction and oppress. And I cannot watch one group grow in power without another to balance it.
I think you can tell there's like clearly a bunch you're not saying. And I think there is that well, as you say, it is actions that will have to be the proof of that tomorrow.
Why do you ask?
Because I want to know if we can count on you.
I'm sorry. Like I'm
No, please.
I'm trying to get to a point of I am trying to touch on revenge, but I don't know how to get
Okay.
there.
I want to know your reason. Like all of us have reasons here for why we're doing this. And I understand, and I'll gesture at Jor and Tristan. I understand why they're here. I understand why I'm here. But you are a quandary. That is why I asked.
It's not revenge, if that is what you're implying. As much as I regret not being able to save all those I've lost. I do not regret not being a part of the destruction myself.
There is nothing wrong with revenge when it is done in the cause of justice.
Whose justice?
The justice of the Force, and revenge serves to make the universe a better place, then it is a construct. It is a value of the light side. Not that you care about light or dark with your harmony. Not
No.
unlike Jor.
They're always a complementary force. You cannot have one without the other. If you go too far against the one, you will become the other side you're fighting.
Then I will have to be restrained in my vengeance.
Yes. Be careful, because I heard that the leader, the new center, as they call her, is a powerful Jedi.
I think she's kind of like a little bothered that you're explaining it to her, and I think that she will. It is as you say. And I think she'll turn and walk away at that point, maybe a little fuming. So I think you can reasonably mark that disagreement box. And then we got we kind of free play here. If somebody else wants to take the narration.
I think let me see who hasn't been asked yet. Jor and you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think I would like to ask you, actually. So I think I see you storming off, right?
Yeah.
And oh, I like that one. I like the question. And I'll just follow you, I think. Yeah. And I'll say, well, I think heard some part of that. Not necessarily agree with you, but I don't necessarily agree with Koisa either. So, but I wonder, since you're asking these pointed questions, Chara, I wonder, we've all done things in this struggle, right? I wonder what you have sacrificed of yourself to be here. The struggle against our foe.
And I imagine a a scene, and oh, you should give me a card too. Phew, not a face card.
It's black.
Yeah. I imagine there's a scene, that kind of red lighting that they do to show that there's been a battle here recently. And I think there are bodies around. I think Chara is there. And if I may, Jor, can I have you on the scene, arriving? Maybe like you already joined the cause, and this is the point at which you're finding others and following in the wake of the Night Sisters, and Chara has her lightsaber out and is looking around at the bodies, and looks up, and Master Arana.
Chara,
You are late. You're too late. The battle is done here.
how did it how did it go so wrong?
I fought as well as I could. I, but you, you are. They they have powers I haven't seen. They have gifts. I am trained. I am a Jedi. I am of the line of Renstar. But they overwhelmed.
Perhaps you need some tools outside of the order's preference.
I have those, and I think that she'll raise her hands up, and green flames will dance around. That's why they made me leave. It was not enough to save my Padwans. Not enough to save my brother and sister here. They followed me because I told them to, and here they are, dead. You should have been here sooner.
We should have been more prepared.
Ooh,
And maybe like some force lightning like crackles around Jorah's hand.
I think she looks up, turns her lightsaber off and says, I will never be unready again. And I'd like to cut back to the present, and I will say, I am the last of my line. I will not see the Jedi Order extinguished in my day. That time will come, but that is not today.
That is a valuable sentiment, and I'm glad that you will stand with the order, even though your line did not come from it.
What do you mean?
Your line did not come from the Jedi Order. Did you not know? Your settlement was founded by the Sith.
I think there's a grip on the lightsaber there, like tight grip.
Manage your anger, young one.
Quasar?
Can Quasar come in with a pot of stew? Now, I think we everyone can benefit from a nice warm stew. As this, I feel something in the air. Trying to break the tension, like say some dumb jokes.
I imagine for Chara, it's particularly bad because she can tell that Tristan's not lying. Like I think she can sense that, and she will say, "Yes, stew." Kind of, we'll use that as an excuse to break away from Tristan there.
Yeah, Tristan gives her a look that is actually a little kinder than he usually gives. And mutters so that you can hear, but maybe Quasar does not, you did not know that. I apologize.
Nice.
And Quasar will take the opportunity while scooping some stew and present it to Chara that I must apologize for my earlier comment. That was out of line.
No, I was out of line. I was dismissive. That is a failing. How did you get this stew so blue?
A secret home recipe. So the green is interfering with the green screen.
Yes.
It's the disappearing
Yes.
drink. And Quasar will continue to prepare a bowl for Tristan and for Jor. But then as they get to Jor, Quasar says, you always say the Force provides. Well, I think it is the community that you surround yourself with that actually provide. And the question I haven't quite formulated yet, but I asked the question now, right?
Yeah.
What was the main set of philosophy or teaching that really got Jor in trouble? And as a player, I'm trying to find
Yeah. What was the point that got like the point, the thing that he said or did that got him kicked out?
in like as a player, how do we use that to
Uh,
make it so that I can do something else later? Or is that too much?
so
We
here's what
should
you do
find out first.
is yeah, you'll we pass it to Jor. You give Jor a card. Okay.
Done.
And then Jor frames up the flashback.
I can play the disciple or the groups of disciples who are going to take that teaching and go spread it across the universe.
Sure. I think, yeah. So maybe the flashback is um like um Jor and an apprentice like sitting across from each other, cross-legged, sort of in meditation, and floating in between them is like a lightsaber, but like all the way apart. Um, and the like, so yeah, it's like all of the pieces are sort of floating in midair between us. And like the Kyber crystal is right in the middle, and let's say it's blue. And as we're like meditating together and the force and the shadow around us, all of the color like drains out of the kyber crystal and it's left as clear. And then it like we see the like lightsaber come all the way back together. And the apprentice like take it and turn it on. And it's not white, but it's not like the color that it was anymore, right? And so this idea that you can sort of like influence these things that if you take the totality of the force and apply it, you can do things that supposedly aren't supposed to be done or can't be done. Like you can change the nature of things in sort of a fundamental way to leave them sort of as like a blank space.
Hmm.
And they
Uh,
start swinging it like in the fanciest way possible.
yeah.
And it feels so light. Master, this is so freeing. I've never felt so empowered.
Yes, and it's the power the force gives you that will allow you to build on that. And it's sort of like a cycle, right? Like the more power you have, the more attuned to the force you can be, the more influence you can exert upon the force and the physical world. And I guess that's the fine line, right? Is like how much power can you have before it starts to corrupt you a little bit, I think is probably what really started to get these like people in trouble, right? But if you can holistically manage that understanding and stay sort of like honest in your um, manipulations, like that's where you can transcend this dichotomy and exist more on a spectrum of the force, I guess.
And I don't feel any drawn to the dark side. I think I think this is purity. More people needs to know.
I
Like
think that's
out of character,
Okay.
do you say anything to try to temper that?
uh No, I think that's like that's a good I think that's a good cliffhanger, right? Because it kind of leaves us in limbo of like what happened there. Um and because I think would Jor's opinion would probably not be spoken, but I think like yeah, like these are good principles. He believes in these principles, but he doesn't want to start a school, right? He doesn't want to, he's an unwilling mentor. So I think just leaving it at that is great. Like, yeah.
And I'm gonna name this student Drayan, just in case we need to
Awesome.
use them.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
So then we switch back to the present, and Quasar, how are you putting that question or version of that question to Jor, or telling them something?
I've heard a teaching by people who aspire to become Jedi or join the Jedi Order that there is such thing as the purest form of this connection to the Force. I assume this is what you have.
It is what I seek. I think assuming true enlightenment is a pursuit that never ends. And when one assumes they've found it, they have probably found something else.
So you don't deny that this is what you teach people.
I try. I try to explain to people the truth of the Force. And if you can abide that, if you can find the honesty there, then like, or like, I try to speak honestly about the Force. And if you can find the truth in it, I think that is a better beginning than a lot of what others preach.
I wonder why you still have a connection when the true Jedi warriors do not. I wonder.
I'm not.
I wonder, can you reach this enemy through this connection? Out of character, I'm accusing you of working for the new center.
Gotcha. um,
I'm sorry. I think I twisted the way the question is supposed to do.
I think that's
I
fair.
got the answer.
Yeah,
I got the answer, but
no, I think that felt fair. I mean, we got the flashback, you addressed it, and then you kind of addressed that question in a kind of a slightly different form, but it's still essentially that the same essential idea. And then you accuse them.
I found a way in, just as Chara is like expressing some distrust of this outsider, and this outsider found this weird situation of Jedi's not being able to use the Force, but someone who can, and the enemy also can. So there's this weird thing going on here. And Quasar has, because of the secret, right? they subconsciously don't like George.
Yeah, that's fair.
Do we want to leave that hanging there? Like leave that, does that feel like a good point with that accusation hanging there?
Yeah,
That's
Quasar will
that's
try
a
to
guess.
like, politely says, I'm sorry, maybe I've misspoke. But obviously, she doesn't think that.
Cool.
Nice. So that's our first round. We all have a card. When we go forward from now on, when you go to ask a question, you'll draw a card, and then you choose whether to give the card from your hand, that you've just drawn, or the card that's in front of you. So you'll draw one, you'll look at it, and then you can give it to the person you're asking the question to, or you can give the one that's one of the ones that's in front of you.
Okay, so I'm
that's
assuming the one that's in our hand, like the hidden
that's
card, comes into play
sort of,
later.
yeah, it's our like secret
Yes.
card
Okay.
that we have,
Yep.
our ace in
Okay.
the hole, as it were.
Cool.
But we'll come back to that. So we're going to take our big break here. So we're going to go, we're about 10 till noon my time. We're going to go till the break until 1. So we're about an hour and 10-minute break for lunch and whatnot. And we'll continue. We've got a few more rounds of this in the same cycle of play. And then we'll do the battle resolution. So does that sound cool with everybody? Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I am going to stop the recording. We'll do a
Mhm.
second part with the second recording. We'll use the same Zoom for the second part of the call, and I will see everybody in about 70 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
See you.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks.